Ciao a tutti, benvenuti in questa puntata speciale di In diretta con lo scrittore. Sarà la mia prima diretta in inglese, vedremo che cosa ne verrà fuori. Vediamo chi sta arrivando, perché io so che ci sono le volontarie della translation, quindi chi si volontarizza per aiutarmi a tradurre, diciamo così, questa scrittrice, si palesi ora, mandatemi magari ecco, chi vuole aiutarmi mi mandi un cuoricino, facciamo così, un cuoricino per capire chi mi aiuterà in questa avventura. Parleremo con questa scrittrice che si chiama Taylor Jenkins Reid, che è, eccoti Chicca, benissimo, number one. Oddio, non mi ricordo come ti chiami, Rabella, che ci siamo anche scritte, ma non mi ricordo il tuo nome, ricordamelo che così lo dico. Allora, Chicca, ricordami il tuo nome, please. C'è anche Carlotta. Arianna, poteva essere Arianna? Non me lo ricordo. Così vi presento anche a lei. Dicevo, parleremo con Taylor Jenkins Reid, che è una scrittrice americana, quindi ci collegheremo con Los Angeles. Vediamo se... Ah, Chiara, io vedevo Chicca, quindi Chiara, Carlotta. Chiara, Carlotta, ok. Ok, sì, è una cosa un po' complicata, ma ce la possiamo fare. Allora, la mia idea, ragazze, è un po' questa, cioè noi inizieremo a chiacchierare e durante la chiacchierata sostanzialmente cercheremo di tradurre, insomma, quello che lei dice, perché io non sono certa di riuscire a ricordarmi tutto quello che lei dice, quindi capiamo anche quante persone italiane, quante persone inglesi ci saranno e se ci stiamo capendo, ok? Quindi probabilmente andrà molto in inglese questa cosa perché non possiamo stare a fare il cinema, no, delle traduzioni, però ce la faremo. Del libro vi parlavo questa mattina nelle stories, si intitola Daisy Jones and the Six, è un libro ambientato negli anni 70, racconta il rise and fall, cioè l'ascesa e la caduta di questa rock band degli anni 70, racconta la vita di due personaggi principali, Daisy e Billy, ma è soprattutto un libro che parla anche di tante altre cose, c'è tanta... Ecco, Anna Laura, brava, aspetta che ti scrivo. Anna Laura, ok. You are stunning. Yeah, I'm trying. Non lo so cosa ne verrà fuori, aiuto, sono terrorizzata, scherzo. Dicevo che è un libro che parla di musica, parla appunto del rise and fall, quindi l'ascesa e la caduta di questa rock band degli anni 70, ma parla di tante altre cose, parla di vita, parla di tempo e parla principalmente, e questo è il motivo per cui mi è piaciuto così tanto, parla di scelte di vita. Da una parte abbiamo, ciao a tutti, da una parte abbiamo il fuoco che brucia, il fuoco delle passioni, il fuoco della musica, e dall'altra, in una metafora che a un certo punto racconta uno dei suoi protagonisti, abbiamo l'acqua che rappresenta per certi versi la tranquillità, la famiglia, e dunque è facile, è possibile conciliare questi due aspetti della vita se sei una rockstar? Una domanda che ci facciamo tutti, non soltanto le rockstar, e che Taylor Jenkins Reid racconta molto bene in questo libro, che è un libro anche strano, è un libro che presto diventerà una serie televisiva per Amazon Prime ed è costruito in una maniera veramente inusuale, ve lo faccio vedere perché così capite. Sostanzialmente è come se fosse un lungo documentario in cui tutti i personaggi in pratica parlano con qualcuno, non sappiamo chi è, lo scopriremo alla fine. È un libro che è stato un bestseller pazzesco negli Stati Uniti, e leggendolo insomma ho capito il perché e non vedo l'ora di vedere la serie televisiva e soprattutto di ascoltare le canzoni, perché se tu leggi un libro che parla di musica, parla di canzoni, di rock and roll degli anni 70, non vedi l'ora di ascoltarlo, no? Eccola qua. E adesso shiftiamo il language, proviamo. Hi Taylor, how are you?
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, very fine, thank you. What time is it in LA? It's
It is
morning.
10:30 in the morning.
10:30 in the morning. And is it another day of sun, like in La La Land?
You know what? Yes. I mean, that is what's nice about here is that it's mostly sunny and warm. So, yeah, we're still we've got very, very warm days. I'm actually looking forward for the temperature to fall a little bit, one to get a little bit cooler, but it's very nice today.
Yeah, I missed LA so much. I used to come twice a year. Yeah, I love LA. I love so much. So I have to come again.
It's a cool place, but I would very much like to be in Italy sometime. So maybe we can swap.
Okay, and you put a little bit of Italy in your book, but we are talking about later. So, yes, I read the book, and so Niccolò Argento. So I was talking in Italian about your book. I love it so much. Congratulations! It is a book about music. It is a book about the rise and fall of a rock band of the 70s. But it's far more. It is a book about life. It is a book about time passing, and most of all is a book about choices, the choices of life. It is a book about fire, the fire that burns with passion, and on the other hand, like Billy says, we have water, the water of tranquility and family. So, first of all, when the idea of this story came to your mind, I read that you are obsessed with romantic musical duos. Yeah,
I love anytime you have two lead singers and they are in love with each other. I am fascinated. You know, I studied a lot of different, you know, it's like Johnny Cash and June Carter when they would do duets together, or Emmylou Harris and Graham Parsons, or, you know, even sometimes like when you have musicians, they don't necessarily perform together, but they inform each other's work. Like, you know, what was happening a lot in the Laurel Canyon music scene in the 70s, like Joni Mitchell and Graham Nash. I'm always really just sort of enamored with that, because I like to see how the personal and the creative come together. Where does the line end? Where does the personal relationship end and the creative part start? And I'm sure part of that is because my husband is also a writer, and so he and I are always having, you know, conversations creatively, and yet we have this marriage and we're raising a kid together. So it's like the lines get blurred a lot.
And do you like music? Why have you chosen the world of music and the 70s especially? I
love music. I think as much as, you know, we all love music. I think for me, what's really fascinating about music in particular is, and a lot of art, is that it's you're putting a lot of yourself into it. Obviously there's a lot of myself in my books, but there's a lot of singer-songwriters who their particular style is predicated upon telling us about their lives. And so you form this really personal relationship, it feels like, with people that you don't know. And so that's why, like, I will listen to bands or particular singers and feel like I really understand them and they understand me, but I've never met them and they don't know me. And I find that relationship really fascinating. So I wanted to write about artists and how the line between, you know, what really just all lines being blurred, you know, the creative versus the personal, but also then like what they're contributing to us versus what fans expect of them. I'm really fascinated by that stuff.
As I said before, now I have some followers that are trying to translating in Italian what you're saying. So it's a very funny moment. So, as I said before, while I was reading the book, the first thing I thought, I continued thinking, oh, I would like to listen to this music, but the music doesn't exist. So
I know. I want to listen
did
to
you listen to music
too.
in your mind or not? I don't know, as a writer.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. It's really, it's music. And I think part of the reason why we love it as much as we do is that it defies description. It's really, really hard to describe. I could describe your favorite song to you and maybe you wouldn't even pick up that it's your favorite song. It's so personal, the way that we interpret it. And it transcends, you know, language in terms of when we're talking about language, meaning English or Italian or something like that. For me, I hear some of it. I hear like a sense of it, but it's really, the best way to describe it is that I did so much research on so many bands, and I found that what I wanted and what I felt would be realistic given how successful this band has to be in the world, I found that it was like if you took Fleetwood Mac and Tom Petty and Bruce Springsteen and kind of
Wow.
melt them together somewhere in there, you know, you have like a little bit of the more soft and atmospheric stuff of Fleetwood Mac, but then like some of the grittier stuff of Springsteen and the poppier stuff of Petty. I just felt like you somewhere in there is the answer, but I don't know what exactly it sounds like.
È molto divertente, questo parlo un pochino, I'm speaking a little bit in Italian too. È molto divertente come ha raccontato di mesciare così creare la sua musica. Io vi chiedo, vedo che state traducendo, siete bravissime, se riuscite insomma a seguire, Taylor parla un inglese bellissimo. I'm saying that your English is wonderful, it's very clear, so maybe people are understanding us. And you also wrote the songs. There are a lot of songs at the end of the book. And you wrote them.
I did.
Was it hard to do? What's your favorite?
It was very hard. It's a totally different muscle to flex. The novel writing and songwriting are very, very different. I was not particularly well suited to the task at first. But I really felt like if I was reading this book and I was reading these people talk back and forth about this is what this song was about, or, you know, no, I don't think it was about that, or I was writing from this point of view, I would want to go back to the lyrics themselves and make my own decision. That's part of what the fun is about music when we're talking about confessional singer-songwriters and feeling like you know them. It's like, I want to look at the lyrics and interpret it and make my own decision. And so it was kind of the feeling of, okay, this needs to be a part of the book, so I need to become a talented enough songwriter in a very short period of time to pull this off. So it took a lot of work. It was the thing that I worked on probably the longest in terms of, you know, I had written songs at the very beginning before I wrote the book, thinking that I needed them in order to write the book. And then I was like, no, these are bad. These are very bad. But as the book went on, I would come back to them and tinker with them. And then I'd be like, oh no, he wouldn't sing a song about that. He'd sing a song about this. And it all came together in a way where I feel like, I don't know if I would say that they're my songs. I think if I was going to write a song, it would probably be different. But I was able, I think, to channel Billy and Daisy and the songs that they would write. And so hopefully what you see is a set of songs that sound like them and that you can go through and see if you think what they're saying in the book lines up with what they've written.
Wow. You have a plan B now. Your future can be also writing songs.
Yeah, right.
And I'm very curious there's an upcoming TV series for Amazon Prime, and I'm very curious to listen to the songs. I'm very curious. Can you tell us something about it? Are you working to the adaptation or not?
Yeah, so I'm not creatively working on the adaptation.
Okay.
We've hired incredible writers to do that, and I'm really, really floored by I personally
Michael
really
Weber.
excited.
Yes. Michael
Yeah, so
Weber.
it's Scott Neussetter and Michael Weber who are doing a lot of the adaptation, but it is a TV series, so there's a whole writer's room full of people. Scott Neussetter and Michael Weber are some of my favorite screenwriters, and they have been for years. And so the fact that they wanted to do this was like a dream come true for me. And then we have this incredible team of writers full of all sorts of different people that are really interesting and contributing really great stuff. And so, you know, we've got a whole cast, which I'm really excited about. Obviously, COVID-19 means that we're not filming right now. But I think we will get to film sometime next year. And I'm really, really excited about it because all of the decisions that are being made as this thing is coming together are just perfection. And so including the music, which people are putting together and making. And I really want to hear what Daisy Jones and the Six sounds like finally.
Wow, poi Michael Weber è l'autore di uno dei miei film preferiti che è 500 giorni insieme. I said that Michael Weber is the screenwriter of a 500 Days of Summer. Is the title?
That's right. Yeah, Scott
that's
Neussetter
one
and
of
Michael
my
Weber. Yes,
film of the heart, of my movie of the heart.
Yes. Oh, I love that movie. Yes.
Yes, it's very true about love. And so let's talk about your wonderful protagonists. Daisy and Billy are amazing.
Yeah.
And so, what about Daisy? Daisy is wonderful. She's so talented, so beautiful, but she's also so vulnerable and broken.
Yes.
So, what kind of a woman is she?
Yeah, she's a handful. I feel like Daisy Jones, if I knew her in real life, I would think she was a real pain in the ass. But I think that's what is fun about her. You know, I'm always kind of fascinated by people who seem to not have both feet on the ground. I feel like I live my life with so much sense of I should do this, I should do that, I need to do this, I must do this. This is the order of things, you know. And oh gosh, I couldn't possibly dare do, you know, whatever. And Daisy is just like, the world is mine. I can do what I want. You know, if I come up against the roadblock, I'll figure out a way to get past it. You know, she just has this charisma and audacity that I find really enchanting. But also really annoying. Like, I think that that's what's fun about her to me is that, you know, she's a really complicated person and she has a lot of problems and she's deeply vulnerable and looking for, you know, despite how beautiful she is and how, you know, she's got this voice and she gets people's attention so quickly, which seem like all these things that we all want. We all value them, right? But at the same time, like, it's the most human basic need to just have someone understand you and love you. And she doesn't have that. And so it does not matter how much else she has. That is the wound, and that is the thing that she's always trying to fix. And so part of what I try to do is with every character that I create is find a reason why, despite all of their flaws, I still love them. I can find a way to love them. And that's definitely the inroad for me with Daisy. Is like, at the end of the day, she just wants somebody to love her. You know, the great Notting Hill line of like, I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy asking him to love her. Like, that's, you know, that's Daisy Jones in some way. And so that's the complicated fun of her, I think.
She always falls in love with the wrong man. One of them is Italian, Nicola
Yes.
Argento. Why have you chosen an Italian wrong man?
I will tell you exactly why. So I was thinking through it, and I thought, first of all, what is the most intoxicating idea in terms of like a man loving you? Like, who's this man that just shows up? Who's the most intoxicating man I can think of? And I thought, what if it was an Italian prince? And then I thought, it's perfect because there are really no prince, like there's not a monarchy in Italy. So what does it mean to be a prince? It's you can say it, but what does it mean? And so I was just enamored with that. It feels like in some ways like the mirror of Daisy, in that it's like, oh, it sounds very glamorous, and oh, can you imagine if an Italian prince fell in love with you? But at the same time, it's like, well, what does it mean to be a prince? That's like when Warren makes that comment about, like, I don't know why he's going around calling himself a prince, because what it means to be a prince in each country is different. And so I just loved the idea that he was as intoxicating as he could possibly be. And who isn't intoxicated by Italians? No one. It's a universal feeling, I think.
It's very nice, è molto bella questa idea del principe italiano, of the Italian prince. Yes, very funny. I loved all your characters. I love Billy, I love Karen, I love Simone. Simone is on Donna Summer, is based on Donna Summer.
Very similar. Yeah. I mean, nothing biographical about her is the same, but she fulfills. Yeah.
And also Camilla. Camilla is Billy's wife.
Yeah.
And I thought, when I was reading the book, I thought that Daisy and Camilla can be the two sides of the same woman. Because we have Daisy, as we said, broken and so on, and super talented, super beautiful, and so on. Mm-hmm. And Camilla, that is the perfect wife, the perfect mother. She knows his husband. And we can say that they try to answer to the questions we did at the beginning. So could be a balance between fire and water.
Yeah, and I think more even than that, it's that everybody needs different people, right? And so I really I knew that I wanted to write a story about essentially a man torn between two different sides of himself. And so Camila is indulging one side of him, and Daisy is indulging another side of him. But I didn't want it to be that these women were reduced to just representing him, because to be honest, he is maybe the least interesting part of that complication, that triangle to me. I really wanted it to be that everybody's different, and everybody has things that they're good at, and everybody has things that they're not as good at, and that women who are so often in stories put in opposition to each other. It's this way or this way, or this way is a better woman, or this way is a better woman. And it's like, no, there's 1,000 different ways to be a woman. You can be Daisy, you can be Camila, you can be Karen, you could be Simone. You can be 1,000 different things. They're all legitimate. There's no right or wrong answer. There's no, oh, Daisy's better because Daisy's famous and beautiful and a singer and has this creative outlet, or no, Camila's better because Camila's a mother and Camila is softer and Camila's more supportive. It's like, no, just be who you want to be whatever woman is in your heart to be, and know that at least within the confines of this book, the other women will support that. And so Daisy and Camila could have had a really sort of catty relationship, and I just wasn't interested in that. What's more interesting to me is, again, their vulnerability. And, Karen and Daisy could have been very competitive. Again, I'm not as interested in that. I want to see what happens when they support each other. I want, when they work together, when they have respect, maybe a mutual respect for each other, but then, keep their distance, or, those feel fresher to me. And so that was what I was thinking about with Daisy and Camila, was how do I tell a story about two honest women that feel truthful, that feel like women I might know, who love the same man for different reasons.
Well, very nice. So we can say that there is not a kind of objective truth. So this is the reason why you have chosen this very unusual structure of the book. This is a kind of oral story, a very long documentary. Every character speaks and tell his truth, his or her truth.
Yeah, I think what's really fun about this this format, and it's not normally a format that's used for fiction, although other people have done it. It's typically used for nonfiction, and it's just an oral history. So it's just a compilation of interviews where you're never hearing from a narrator. You're only hearing, well, sometimes you are hearing from a narrator to set the scene or whatever. I shouldn't say never, but you're mostly just hearing from the band or Camila or the people around them about what happened. So you're hearing directly as if they were talking to the camera, like in a documentary. And I had initially had the idea to do that because I thought it was really, really great for the kind of verisimilitude, that it would make it feel real, like really real. And even though the band is fake, it will still give you that sense of voyeurism, that you're peeking behind the curtain, you're getting to know this long lost, long held secret you're finally going to get to know, which is fun. But when I started writing the book, what I realized is that it provided an opportunity, and I would argue kind of demanded, that I wrestle with one of the biggest issues in having people tell you their story, which is that people are not the best narrators for their own lives. Nobody remembers things, correctly. Everyone swears that they do. Part of it is the fact that our memories are actually not that great, especially with details. We color things in when we don't realize that we do. And also we tell stories in a way that benefits us, that confirms the story we're telling ourselves about ourselves. And we're always retelling it in order to make sense of where we are today. So I can tell you the story of my life, and I bet you that it is going to end in some moral for today. I find that really fascinating. And so when you're reading the book, there's a question of who should you believe? Not all of the stories sync up. People don't make sense. The truth is probably not told to you directly by any of them at any given time. So you have to decide, what you think the truth is, which is really fun to me. That means that the book is open to interpretation in a lot of ways. There are a lot of people who I've heard say that they think certain things happened that aren't in the book because of certain implications, or you can map a lot of your own thoughts onto it.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. And in the end, there's a surprise because we understand who is the real narrator. But no spoiler. We are not going to say it.
Yeah.
The last question. Thank you, Taylor. A typical Italian question. Do you love any Italian writers, Italian movies? What about Italy? Do you love? Don't say pizza, pasta, or something else. But
you said I can't say pizza and pasta?
No, you can't.
Oh, okay. Well, the first thing I was going to say was gelato, but I understand that doesn't fall within the purview. I have to say the thing that I'm the most enamored with in Italy is actually the architecture. LA in particular, but the United States in general. We're a really new country. I grew up in Massachusetts, which is on the other side of the country, and also at least has been, some of our buildings have been around since the 1600s. Some, very few, but the sense of history as being, longer than maybe 400 years is really, really like intoxicating to me. And so the fact that Italian architecture shows such a sense of time moving, and the way that culture changes and styles change, and that stuff is reflected in the cities. That is my obsession with most of Europe, but Italy in particular. I think I gotta go with the architecture on that one.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you so much.
Thank
just this
you. Thank you for
conversation
reading
so
the
much.
book
Yes.
and for asking such great questions. I
Oh,
really, really
thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I look forward in reading are you writing a new book?
Yeah,
Or
I have a
coming?
new book. A new book is coming out next year, and
Oh,
then I'm working on another one. So I'm always writing. I'm always trying to get one more book out there.
so see you soon.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you, Taylor. Daisy Jones and the Six. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Enjoy lei also for me.
Bye.
Bene, ce l'abbiamo fatta. Adesso sono qua, sono rimasta da sola. Com'è andata? Avete capito? Spero di sì. Eravate tantissimi ragazzi, che bello. Avete capito tutto questo inglese? Sì, credo di sì. Fatemi sapere qualcosa, forse arrivate un po' in ritardo. È andata bene? Siete contenti? Brave. Io vedevo che sotto c'era tutta una traduzione in atto e purtroppo, vabbè, avete visto che lei era molto veloce. In realtà è stata molto chiara, il suo inglese è stato molto chiaro, però vi volevo dire che insieme a Sperling e Puffer abbiamo deciso, allora io salverò questa diretta in inglese, però poi insomma la lavoreremo e la riposterò anche con i sottotitoli sostanzialmente in italiano. Ce l'ho fatta a parlare in inglese fino alla fine, anche se ogni tanto mi perdevo le parole, ma insomma si capiva. E leggete questo libro perché è veramente bello, mi è piaciuto molto, non vedo l'ora di vedere la serie televisiva, perché Reese Witherspoon l'ha letto, si è innamorata e ha voluto farne una serie. Grazie, vi do l'appuntamento a domani alle 19. Abbiamo una diretta che vi consiglio di non perdere insieme a Luca Mazzucchelli, che è uno psicologo che ci racconterà tantissime cose. Grazie sempre per esserci e un abbraccio. Ciao!